Why New York City buyers shouldn't use the listing agent. You walk into an open house, the apartment is simply perfect. The listing broker's right there, warm, helpful, telling you everything you want to hear. And you think, why not just work with them directly? Cut out the middleman. Maybe I could get a better deal. Well, here's what actually happens when you do that. I've been doing that for 18 years in New York City. And one of the most common mistakes I watch buyers make, smart buyers, well-researched buyers, is walking into an open house, falling in love with an apartment, and deciding to work directly with a listing broker to buy it. They think they're being strategic. They think they're getting the inside track. The reality is, it's not that simple. And before you make that decision, you need to understand exactly how representation works in this city, because it's different from everywhere else. Here's the thing most buyers don't realize. The listing broker does not work for you. Not partially, not neutrally. They work for the seller. That's the relationship started the day the seller signed the listing agreement. The seller's goal is to sell for the highest possible price with the best possible terms. The listing broker's obligation is to make that happen. So when you walk in unrepresented and start asking questions, how long has it been on the market? Would the seller take less? You need to understand who you're asking the question to. You're asking the other team's player for strategic advice. They can't give it to you, not because they're dishonest, because the law won't allow it. Let me explain how disclosure works in New York City, because this is where it gets specific. In New York City, disclosure forms are signed at the very beginning. The moment you engage with a broker, whether it be me or somebody else, whether you're hiring your own buyer's agent or just showing up unrepresented, a disclosure form is completed. It defines the agency relationship and what parties' obligations are from that point forward. This is not a formality. It is the foundation of how your entire transaction will be handled. And it matters enormously whether the person sitting across from you is working for you or for the seller. Now, here's the financial reality. This is more nuanced than people think. The listing agreement sets three things: what the listing broker is paid, what a buyer's broker is paid, and what the listing broker keeps if they handle both sides of the deal directly. That third number is typically higher than what they receive on a co-broke transaction. So the listing broker has a financial incentive to work with you directly. That doesn't mean they're a bad person, but it's a conflict of interest you should understand before you walk into an open house without representation. Let's talk about what your own broker actually does before you make an offer. They pull comparables, sales in the specific building and in the surrounding area to build a real picture of what the apartment is actually worth, not what it's listed for. They find out whether there are any assessments coming, whether maintenance has increased recently, and whether the seller's offering to pay the buyer broker fee. Because yes, that's part of the negotiation too. All of that becomes the foundation of your offer strategy. Because in this market, the offer is just not a number. It's a package. The price, the terms, the timing, all of it signals to the seller whether you're serious, whether you're a capable buyer. A good buyer's broker engineers that package before it goes in. Now, here's what happens after the offer is accepted. And this is where New York is genuinely different from any other state. New York is an attorney state. That means once your offer is accepted, a real estate attorney takes over a significant part of the process. Your attorney reviews the contract, they do the due diligence on the building, reviewing the financials, the board minutes, any neighbor complaints. The deposit, always 10% of the purchase price, is held by the attorney in escrow and paid at the contract signing. That is standard across every deal in New York City, no exception. So yes, you have an attorney, you're in your corner on the legal side, but your attorney is not your negotiator. They're not the one pulling comps for your offer. This is what your buyer's broker does. Here's what I want to be honest with you about, because I think it's important. Buyer's representation in New York City is not always free. It depends upon what the seller's offering to pay, and it's negotiated as part of the deal. Sometimes it costs you nothing out of pocket. Sometimes it's 0.5%. or 1% of the purchase price. It really just depends. Every transaction is different. What I can tell you is this: when you walk into a transaction without your own representation, you are navigating one of the most complex real estate markets in the world. Attorney state, co-op boards, board packages, 10% deposits at contract signing, without someone whose sole job is to protect your position. That is a significant risk. It's one most buyers don't fully appreciate until they're ready in contract. If you want to understand exactly how the buying process works in New York, from the first offer to the closing table, no surprises, just a clear picture of every step, comment the word leverage below and I'll send you my New York City buyer process guide. No finger pointing later, just a clear path from A to B.